My true color was accidentally exposed during the assessment. I only slightly made a move, yet it made the strongest S-rank powerhouse shudder with fear. This was only because he discovered that I actually possessed the legendary black attribute, which was not only appearing for the first time in history, but could even devour other colors. The so-called genius young lady from a prestigious family was completely eclipsed in my presence. This was a world sustained by ink, where status was divided by color. My name is K, and I was someone born without any color, the most lowly existence in this shining city. The colorless, from the moment of birth, were branded with labels such as trash, burden, and the cursed. Everyone told me that I did not deserve to have dreams, did not deserve to join the pioneering corps, did not deserve to stand in the sunlight, and even less deserve to become a colorist who guarded the city. But I simply refused to accept this fate. I desperately wanted to prove that the colorless could also possess their own radiance. In order to squeeze into the pioneering corps, I tried my absolute best and found precious ink in my eyes. This was no ordinary liquid. This was the key to changing my destiny, the hope for me to be accepted by the world. And this was found all thanks to my companion, Nero. I excitedly took the ink and ran back to the city to take my chance. In the city's shadow district, there was a C-rank pioneering corps entrance exam that was ongoing. This corps claimed that anyone with color can apply, and that there was a family-like atmosphere. However, reality gave me the most cruel slap in the face. The moment the guard saw me, his face was filled with disgust as he berated me to get lost. I held the ink up in front of him. Why am I not allowed to apply? I proved my qualification with this. He finally tore off all pretense and coldly told me the truth. I was a colorless person, and that was the original sin. People were born with predetermined places, and an idiot like me who couldn't accept this reality was a nuisance. At this moment, the guard began to unleash his colored power, unleashing a wave of fire towards me. Pioneers can only be us, those like us who are chosen with color. Outside the city was the boundless and dark black lands, hiding countless man-eating mutant beasts. Only the chosen ones born with color could become the heroes who expanded the territory and protected humanity. We are the true heroes. So, for a person like you, it is absolutely impossible. If you are colorless, then act like it and stick to colorless work. He warned me that if I dared to pester him again, he would not hesitate to kill me. At that moment, all my pride and expectations were entirely destroyed. It's okay, Nero. If they don't take us in here, we will just go to the next place. I was already used to this kind of rejection. However, my goal of becoming the greatest colorist ever still remained, because this was a promise of mine. I pushed Nero back into my jacket, fearful that someone may see him, because he was a unique creature. However, it turns out that there was a person spying on me from above, staring at me menacingly through the window. After the Shadow District, I tried many different places to go to. However, all of them rejected me, so I crossed out the locations in my notebook. Driven into a corner, I returned to Mari's workshop. Mari was the only person in this city willing to treat me kindly. Seeing my dejected appearance, she immediately knew that I had failed again. She indignantly stood up for me, saying that I was much more capable than those arrogant pioneers, that I clearly could venture deep into the Black Lands alone to bring back supplies, and that I clearly possessed abilities not inferior to anyone. However, I couldn't take credit for this, because it's all because of Nero's help that I could do these things. In any case, can you buy this from me? You're a lifesaver. I have been running out of ink due to price increases. Our whole livelihood depends on this ink. At this moment, I became dejected. Even though I am willing to work hard, there weren't any corps willing to take me in. Seeing my depressed state, Mari gave me a sink or swim suggestion. Go and sign up for the S-Rank Dawn Pioneering Corps. This was the top legion in the city. In the past, I didn't even have the courage to approach it, and I was certain I would be rejected. But Mari told me that this legion only looked at strength and not at background, and anyone could sign up. You want to be a colorist, right? Since childhood, I had dreamed of becoming a colorist, and since childhood, I had wanted to protect the city. Remember, we'll always support you, no matter what you do. I gritted my teeth and decided to grasp this last straw. I thanked Mari and, bringing Nero along, embarked on the path to sign up. My heart was full of longing for the future, calculating how to prepare for the assessment and how to prove myself. But I absolutely did not expect that danger had long been eyeing me from the shadows. Suddenly, Nero began to growl, sensing the incoming danger. At this moment, a green colorist had actually pointed his wand at me, and a large green slash was sent towards my direction. Completely defenseless, the vicious attack ruthlessly smashed into my back. This instantly knocked me down. Nero crawled out of my jacket, worried for my condition, and all I could do was worry that Nero might not be safe. When I struggled to open my eyes, the green colorist was actually surprised I still woke up. It turns out that he was hanging me by my shirt. Below us was the ink waste. This is the result when all kinds of inks mix together, and it was especially deadly to humans, not even leaving a body to be found afterward. Who the hell are you? Why did you attack me? It turns out that their target was not me, but Nero beside me. They saw at a glance that Nero was an intelligent, rare mutant beast capable of following humans, which could fetch an astronomical price on the black market. I struggled desperately, roaring at them to let Nero go. They smiled hideously and said that for such a precious thing to fall into the hands of a colorless little punk like me was simply a waste. To me, Nero was my only family, and I absolutely could not lose him. I hated my own weakness, hated the unfairness of this world, and hated these people who resorted to any means necessary for profit. I had never hurt anyone, but they snatched away Nero, snatched away my only light, and I was about to lose even the meaning of living. Suddenly, a shout shock came to the green colorist's body. It was as if the green of the colorist was being sucked into my body. The green colorist didn't hesitate to let me go due to the disgusting feeling. The two people thought they had succeeded and left laughing loudly, preparing to strike it rich in the black market. Meanwhile, I lay in the toxic ink sludge, my body completely disobedient, unable to even lift a single finger. Was I just going to end like this? Did I really not even have a chance to save Nero? However, I cannot give up, because I still have a promise. I promised it that I would protect it and become the strongest colorist. Just as my consciousness was about to dissipate, a mysterious voice rang out in my mind. It questioned me. Why was I lying there? Why was I doing nothing? Was I just going to resign to my fate like this? It told me not to hesitate, to go save Nero, and to embrace my own true color. At that moment, I felt as if I had been struck by a bolt of startling thunder. Suddenly, the black color around me began to converge into my palm, until finally, I was standing in the void with my white mirror image. What is this? What is happening right now? But more important than that, just who am I right now? Suddenly, I heard Nero's voice calling out for help. Just above me was Nero, and the colored silhouette of the two people that attacked us. And currently, Nero was crying out to me for help. A strong obsession to save Nero instantly erupted from me, and a terrifyingly powerful black energy surged up into the sky from my body. The originally highly toxic ink instantly vanished without a trace. An unprecedentedly powerful black silhouette had appeared from the center of the energy. The two men were entirely dumbfounded. They could not believe that such a terrifying creature could exist. At this time, Shining City was already surging with undercurrents. Someone recounted in horror in front of the ruins that an incomparably massive hand appeared out of thin air and instantly tore a large area to shreds. Two members of the B-rank pioneering corps died bizarrely, with all the colors on their bodies completely vanishing. The high-ranking Lord Colorists personally set out and came to Shadow District to investigate. At this moment, the two colorists were in the middle of the ruined area, beginning their investigation. They discovered that a large mutant beast, which should not have appeared, had shown up in the city, which completely went against common sense. The mutant beasts in the city had always been harmless small species. The sudden appearance of a ferocious large mutant beast surely hid an unknown secret behind it. They tracked the trail of the mutant beast but fell into confusion. But at this moment, I began to wake up in a patch of darkness, and my first reaction was to call for Nero. When I saw it respond to me safe and sound, my hanging heart was finally set at ease. A massive amount of fragmented memories flooded into my mind, and I suddenly realized that at that moment in the toxic ink sludge, I actually possessed a color. This was something I wouldn't even dare to dream of. A born colorless person had actually awakened their own color power. The surroundings were pitch black, and I couldn't see anything. Seeing this, I asked Nero to help me see. It span around, beginning to transform. It popped out with a bright light, instantly illuminating the dangerous surroundings and menacing creatures in the dark. Seeing this, it made my whole body tremble. This place was actually the Black Lands, and specifically the Black Forest area that only B-rank and above pioneers could enter. Before I could react, countless mutant beasts had already completely surrounded us. I grabbed Nero and ran desperately, narrowly dodging attack after attack. The mutant creatures were all chasing after us, needing to climb up difficult terrain to try to escape, and sprinting a very long distance with Nero. To my surprise, I found that my body had seemingly undergone earth-shaking changes. Having run for a long time, I didn't feel the slightest bit of fatigue. My movements became agile and swift, and my entire body was filled with inexhaustible power. But suddenly, a mutant beast had actually snuck up on me. The mutant beast lunged up fiercely and bit ruthlessly onto my arm. But unexpectedly, the mutant beast's teeth actually shattered, while I was completely unharmed. Immediately, the mutant creature ran off back into the bushes. Meanwhile, I began to understand that this is the power of color. But at that moment, Nero and I heard a terrifying noise. It turns out that a massive cyclops appeared before me. This kind of mutant beast was supposed to only live in the deepest parts of the Black Forest. The cyclops roared loudly as it pulled its arm high into the sky, delivering a powerful strike towards me, knocking me away and crashing into the trees and rocks. Despite the cyclops' powerful strike, I still felt like I could win this battle. I finally possessed the color I had dreamed of, and I finally didn't have to run away anymore. I had to remember the feeling from before in order to summon the same power, and the black energy entwined around my body once again. This time, I finally could stand my ground. With a fierce stomp on the ground, I actively charged towards the cyclops, and with just one punch, this ferocious mutant beast was smashed to pieces. The force of the punch even affected a large area of the forest. The thrill of power filled my entire body. I could finally control my own destiny. Just for a brief moment, my eyes clearly saw the true colors of this place. Suddenly, I felt the color within my body being frantically consumed. Immediately, I began to fall back to the ground. It seemed like the stronger the power, the faster the color drained. I began to panic, worried that the color may never return once lost. But just then, that mysterious voice exploded in my mind once more. It tempted me, telling me that the prey was right in front of me, and as long as I devoured this color, I would be able to survive and become stronger. Subconsciously, by the will of survival instincts, I put my hand onto the corpse of the Cyclops. In the next second, the corpse of the Cyclops turned into pitch black energy, surging madly towards my palm. Feeling the power pouring into my body, only one thought remained in my heart: I am going to survive. After coming out of the Black Lands, I went directly to Mari's shop. At this time, I had already changed my outfit. Mari warmly came up to greet me and asked what I needed. However, I did not answer her, which caused her to become confused. As I got closer, she became more worried, repeatedly shouting at me not to come any closer. The next moment, I jokingly scared her, and she let out a panicked scream. "You can calm down, Mari, it's just me." Hearing this, she froze in place, choking with sobs and completely unable to speak a complete sentence. I knew that the current me was already completely unrecognizable, and even the person most familiar with me couldn't recognize me. Mari tremblingly questioned me about what exactly had happened. After hearing the full story, she constantly began shouting that she would absolutely never forgive the people who hurt me, and even threatening to smash the opponent's head with a hammer. Soon, she finally calmed down and confessed that ever since losing news of me, she had been very worried and didn't expect me to have experienced such terrible things. I apologized to her for making her worry. I also told her that not only did I not die after falling into the toxic ink sludge, but instead I awakened a color uniquely belonging to me from it. It may be black like the color of the mutant beasts, but with this power, I can finally become a colorist. I want to focus on preparing for the entrance assessment of the Dawn Pioneering Corps for now. Fortunately, I made it back in time. However, I needed to borrow some clothes and spare equipment from Mari once again, promising to definitely return them in the future. Mari sighed helplessly, complaining that I was pulling this stunt again, but she still soft-heartedly agreed, treating it as an investment in my future career as a colorist. She took me to get the things. "I happen to have the right items for you here. It will suit you perfectly." Arriving at the assessment venue, it was a sea of people gathering at the center. Many of the participants were also nervous, others reassuring their companions to remain alert. The participants continued their discussions. I never thought that one day I would stand here to participate in the entrance assessment of the Dawn Pioneering Corps. We had come so far. Joining the Dawn Pioneering Corps was the dream of every pioneer member. This S-rank corps had established countless achievements in exploring the Black Lands, possessed the top-tier colorists, and was praised by the world as the hope of Shining City. But this year's assessment was gathered with strong candidates, and the competition was exceptionally brutal. The second daughter of a prestigious colorist family, a renowned bounty hunter, and many recently rising veteran pioneers were all gathered here. Yet the focus of everyone's discussion was on only one person, codenamed Gale of the Wind, the one called Gale. He's basically guaranteed to pass. It's said that he is so powerful that he could single-handedly fight multiple mutant beasts, but his personality was irritable and cruel, offending many people, and it was said he came to participate in the assessment only because he was expelled from his original corps. A particular cocky participant was saying that with just a little training they could be as strong as him. Gale coldly swept his gaze over the crowd, his face full of disdain. He mocked the people present, that they were all vulnerable brats, completely lacking the standard an S rank should have, which disappointed him immensely. To Gale, there wasn't anyone that stood out in strength. There was only one possible exception. His gaze fell on a spot in the crowd, and a hint of interest flashed in his eyes. The second daughter of the Cyan family, Ellie Cyan, the rumored genius powerhouse, which Gale deemed to be enough to notice. However, Gale seemed to have ill intentions towards her, wondering how the people might react if something were to happen. Just then, an authoritative voice resonated through the entire venue, and everyone instantly quieted down, their eyes full of reverence. It was the S-rank colorist of the Dawn Pioneering Corps personally attending to host the assessment, which showed that the Dawn Pioneering Corps was serious about this assessment. It was also my first time being so close to such a top-tier powerhouse, and that oppressive feeling was suffocating. This S-rank colorist spoke, straightforwardly thanking all the participants, stating that whether everyone's goal was money, power, honor, or responsibility, it all didn't matter. The Dawn Pioneering Corps only valued talent, only recruited powerhouses who could step into the Black Lands and take back human territory, and the weak had no place to stand. The first test of the assessment was the arena battle. For pioneers, combat ability was everything. Outside the city, it was survival of the fittest, and the weak would only be the first to die, and the arena was the only stage to prove oneself. The team would select candidates to advance to the next round based on their performance in the arena. Immediately, Gale's number was picked out. This surprised some of the participants, seeing that a powerhouse will be fighting right at the start. However, Gale had an arrogant look, clamoring that he could finally have some fun and that he had long been bored to the extreme. However, he was confused at his opponent's sight. It turns out that his disguised opponent was exactly me. In everyone's eyes, my figure was frail, my posture was bizarre, and I looked too weak. Gale was even more dismissive, planning to no longer restrain his strength. He wanted to end the battle in one strike. He circulated his power, and sharp wind blades condensed around his body. At such a young age, he had already mastered this move to perfection, truly worthy of being a recognized genius. Are you ready? If you can't block it, you'll be torn to shreds by my attack. Gale launched his attack with all his might, aiming right towards my neck with a menacing look on his face. But in an instant, my fist struck Gale right in the face, sending him crashing towards the wall, completely out of bounds from the arena. The audience's jaws were left hanging at this display. As the dust settled on Gale's crash, everyone couldn't believe that it only took one hit to defeat him. Meanwhile, I was just plainly startled at Gale's sudden acceleration. At this moment, my hood had revealed my hair's color. The audience could not believe their eyes, seeing black as my color. That was the unique color of mutant beasts. How could humans control black power? Gale was killed in a single strike. Could it be because of the power of the black color? However, their reactions only confused me. me, making me wonder if I had made a mistake. By now, I had welcomed my second opponent. "I told you to stay back. Get away from me," the opponent roared hysterically, but I still approached step by step. His attacks landed on my body without much effect. With a flash of my fist, the referee announced, "Contestant number 286 wins. Contestant number 286 wins his third battle. Contestant number 286 wins once again for his fourth battle." I stood in the center of the arena as the colorists began to discuss. They were all marveling at my potential, saying I stood out from the numerous participants. More importantly, I was the first person they had ever seen possessing a black color. Just then, a voice sounded on the platform. "Today must have been tough for you, right?" The newcomer was actually the team leader, Colorist Red, one of the top powerhouses of Shining City. The assessing teachers asked him why he would appear here, and he only lightly mentioned that he was just passing by. They asked him how the matter he was investigating was progressing. Colorist Red could only respond vaguely, saying there were temporarily no clues. He then changed the topic. "Are there any participants worthy of attention in this year's assessment?" The judges told him that this time there was not only the second daughter of the Cyan family but also a unique dark horse. Is it the participant possessing the black color? He defeated the popular favorite in the first round with amazing results, and at this rate, admission is almost a certainty. Team leader, could this child be exactly? Colorist Red's eyes darkened, nodding in tacit agreement. A new color appeared just as the bizarre incident happened. This is absolutely no coincidence. For now, let's wait and see. Meanwhile, I clenched my fists. This power was too unbelievable. With it, I could finally become a pioneer. But I also didn't dare to take it lightly and had to remain cautious. Last time, because I exerted too much force, the color would suddenly disappear. If I repeated that mistake, I absolutely wouldn't last to the end. Just then, a gigantic ice blast formed at the arena. Contestant number 17 wins. It was precisely the second daughter of the Cyan family. The assessors all praised that the Cyan family truly lived up to its reputation, with strength so formidable it was shocking. How could she be so strong? Just as she walked past me, she even specifically glanced at me, which left me confused as she walked away. Soon, the first round of assessment officially ended. The yellow colorist announced that the losers should leave the venue, and the remaining participants would directly enter the second round of assessment. At this moment, a hand patted the yellow colorist's shoulder. "For the second round of assessment, I will personally take charge of this matter." The crowd instantly exploded into chaos, and everyone revealed looks of despair, because this was Colorist Red. He was one of the most powerful colorists in Shining City, participating in the most number of Black Lands recovery battles, and his power was extremely destructive. Even his allies didn't dare to easily work alongside him. Even his companions spoke out to dissuade him. "If you alter the assessment content without authorization, the commander would definitely punish you severely once she found out." But Colorist Red didn't care at all. "The assessment is very simple. All you have to do is endure as long as you can." As his voice fell, scorching waves of heat swept across the entire venue, encasing the many participants in barriers of red heat. This is merely a replication of an environment I had experienced, where the temperature was exactly like this. The Black Lands are full of extreme environments. Compared to those, this should be nothing. As long as one could block the high temperature, they would pass. But once they failed, it proved they didn't have the qualification to face the Black Lands to begin with. The high temperature was like a purgatory for everyone involved. This was called simple. What kind of terrifying place was the Black Lands anyway? Rumors said he had been slacking off and not training lately, but looking at it now, the rumors were unreliable. This guy was still going strong. This level of control was terrifyingly strong. He truly lived up to being a person who once stood at the pinnacle. But right then, there was a sphere that began to crack with blue energy. The second daughter of the Cyan family had already shattered the barrier. Colorist Red felt she was not bad. Her Cyan family power exactly opposed his own color. No wonder she was called a genius. Meanwhile, Colorist Red shifted his attention to me. He was impressed I lasted this long, but he felt he shouldn't have held too much expectation because I have yet to break out. Meanwhile, I was already panicking. I had already used too much color previously. The longer I hold on, the faster my color will drain. It was even leaking out at this point. If I lost my color in front of everyone and exposed my secret, all the colorists present would definitely immediately join forces to attack me. I absolutely could not sit and wait for death. I had to find power to absorb, just like last time. My eyes locked dead onto the high temperature barrier in front of me. Thinking about it, this barrier itself was a color ability. Perhaps I could absorb it too. However, I don't really know the limit of my absorption ability, but at this moment there was no time to hesitate. In the next second, the power of the barrier was actually madly absorbed by me, and even the barrier of the other participants dissipated. It turns out that I even managed to absorb all the barriers in the entire venue. The color and flames converged into me, turning into a black color. Even Colorist Red's eyes erupted with intense delight. A madman has arrived. It seems this time, we've found a truly good seedling. At this moment, the silence finally settled in, and my heart sank immediately, secretly thinking things were bad. Damn it, I stood out way too much. At this time, the second daughter of the Cyan family felt doubtful. This exam was not a simple test for her, but her only chance to prove herself. But at the critical moment of the exam, a bizarre smear of black appeared before her eyes. Was this really a color that a normal colorist could possess? Ellie Cyan could not help but feel anxious upon seeing this. Her long-standing goal was to become the strongest person in her family, so she she could not lose to anyone, and even less did she want to anger her sister because of a mistake in this exam. But the me in front of her was strong beyond her imagination. Even if she exhausted all her strength, she didn't have the slightest certainty of defeating me. She felt an indescribable power emanating from me, but she didn't know exactly what it was. She forced herself to stop overthinking. She swore there wouldn't be a next time like this. But right then, Colorist Red threw his arm around my shoulder. Was that the black power just now? You sucked away all the surrounding colors in an instant. I'm quite a curious person. Tell me more about your abilities. Hearing this, I abruptly reminded him that the exam wasn't over yet, but Colorist Red calmly replied, "Don't worry, I've already confirmed you passed the exam." I was instantly stunned, unable to believe my ears. Did I really become a pioneer? Colorist Red turned his head to look at the yellow colorist on the high platform. "I'll leave the rest to you. Everyone, pay attention. Because of an unexpected situation, the exam was forced to interrupt. Now we continue. Except for number 17 who broke the barrier, everyone else had to participate in a makeup exam." Just like that, under the envious gazes of everyone, I walked out of the exam venue. Immediately after, I was taken to another place, and Colorist Red asked his subordinate to wait for us in the car. But in the next second, a complete shock surged in my heart. We had arrived at the ink factory where I fell into the ink waste, but now it had turned into a pile of ruins. This happened not long ago, and what's more, 2 pioneers lost their own colors. This was also the first time he had seen such a situation. It was said that eyewitnesses saw a massive black monster at the time. Not long after, an unprecedented black color appeared, an ability capable of absorbing others' colors. A brand new ability. I realized that Colorist Red had already figured it out from the start, but I was not confident that I could outrun him, a hero among colorists. Suddenly, he burst out laughing. "I was just testing you, but your reaction made this not fun at all." He frankly admitted that his job was to investigate the causes and consequences of this incident, but compared to the mission, he was more interested in my abilities in color. He told me that under normal circumstances, all colors absolutely could not blend, but my ability happened to break this iron rule. Judging from my performance during the exam, I obviously hadn't been able to fully control my power. Before I could say anything, Red asked me to try using my ability on him, wanting to see the limit and principle of my power. "Go on, try absorbing my color." I was so scared that I repeatedly refused. This was too dangerous, but Red merely expressed disdainfully that he was much stronger than I imagined, even ordering me to shut up and do as told in a commanding tone. Colorist Red began to think to himself. Black represented the black lands, representing the power to indiscriminately devour everything. I couldn't let this power run out of control. It was enough to completely destroy Shining City. Although people are not aware yet, but humanoid mutant beasts exists as well. Colorist Red worried for the time I would face these creatures, and at the same time, preparing for the worst case scenario, he would not hesitate to eliminate me to put an end to future troubles. I gritted my teeth and agreed, reminding him not to blame me if something goes wrong. But the moment the ability was activated, space began to distort. His red color began to surge into me. Suddenly, severe pain swept through my whole body, like boiling magma wildly flowing through my blood vessels. I completely couldn't control this power, and I could clearly feel that this was Colorist Red's overwhelming power. At this moment, Colorist Red understood that the black color was absorbing without rest, as if it was starving. It turns out that strong colorist could likely resist the absorption, but to the vast majority of people, I was already an extremely dangerous existence. Moreover, the power I displayed in the exam was but the tip of the iceberg. He wanted to know how the absorbed color would be used. Suddenly, a change started to occur, and the black color mixed with the red power. A surge of black and red energy exploded out, and Colorist Red could only stand back and observe. At this moment, the black and red color began to form around my body. Colorist Red admitted that if he didn't know about me, he would have believed that this was just a mutant beast. Now, he was even more certain that I was the culprit behind the color vanishing and the rampaging monster incidents. He felt he should subdue me before I went mad, preparing a fierce attack in his palms. But at this moment, he realized I was struggling internally. Countless voices screamed in my mind. However, I had to stay calm. I had to stop all this before I was completely swallowed by this terrifying power. Eventually, I finally managed to take control of my consciousness once again, and the black and red color dissipated with a blast. Red also had a look of surprise, obviously not expecting me to suppress the power. I felt like I almost died just now, but how could I go berserk, and in front of a colorist, no less? I need to also figure out my own power as soon as possible. He looked at me, finding me very interesting, actually daring to take such a risk. Good, that's enough for the test. Just then, Red suddenly changed his tune. He told me that his mission was to find the perpetrator who caused the accident and punish them, and I was the #1 suspect. Now that my ability and black color were exposed, countless people would suspect me. I simply couldn't afford to compensate for the massive destruction I had caused. Once I angered the higher-ups, I would only be expelled or even caught to be studied as an experimental subject. I fell into despair instantly. There was no way out of this situation, and on top of that, I was just a victim too. Well, if you come under me, maybe I can do something about it. Hearing this, I immediately agreed. However, his help wasn't free, and he would need a few favors in return. However, compared to becoming an experimental lab rat, I was willing to accept no matter what the price was. Red heard this and revealed a demonic smile. Is that so? Willing to do anything? Colorist Red offered me a chance to join an exploration, claiming that he would need the help of my newfound power. My face was full of confusion. confusion. He smiled and comforted me, telling me not to be nervous, that I wouldn't be acting alone on this operation, and other rookies would also go along. The organization would soon officially announce the news of this expedition. As for the specific mission details, he only asked me to arrive at the assembly point on time, saying I would naturally know when the time came. At this moment, deep in the Black Lands, a vehicle drove across the ground. Inside the vehicle was me, completely shocked as I have never gotten this far into the Black Lands before. It truly felt like this was my very first step as a pioneer. Just as I was immersed in complex emotions, a voice called out to me. It was Gale. Suddenly berated me sternly, telling me not to wander around and just sit down quietly. I finally achieved my wish to become a Real pioneer, but thinking of being assigned to the same team with this group of people, I still couldn't believe this was happening. Thinking back, these two were already here even before I arrived. All the changes began with the sudden intervention of Colorist Red. He gave all the examinees a second chance, and many participants used this to show off their talents. The top scorer among the rookies, Ellie, even proactively applied to join Colorist Red's team. At this time, Gale was still full of displeasure, gritting his teeth at me, unable to believe he actually lost to a rookie like me. He claimed that he was caught off guard for a second, and he would absolutely never let me get lucky again. He even talked tough, saying that if it weren't for Lady Lavian stopping him, he would have long torn me to pieces. Ellie on the side told Gale to drop the topic. You'll be knocked out again anyway. Confidently, Ellie claimed that Gale would not be able to handle me. I will be the one who will challenge K first. I was stunned on the spot, completely not remembering when I ever agreed to this duel. Since you already lost, Gale, shut your mouth and wait for your turn. At this moment, the atmosphere in the team was extremely intense. The unease in my heart grew stronger, always feeling that this expedition was destined for trouble. We soon arrived at the Pioneer Outpost. It was my first time seeing what the outpost looked like before dawn. In the past, when entering the Black Lands, I was always alone and had never seen such a massive supply scale of an S-rank pioneering corps. Right at this moment, a finger gently poked my face. I turned to look, and it was actually Mari. I was both surprised and delighted. She smiled. How could I be absent for your first mission? And Nero had also been brought along by her. I quickly thanked for helping to take care of Nero. Moreover, she had successfully joined the Dawn Pioneering Corps and was participating in this exploration. She firmly believed this would be an incredibly precious experience. Just at this moment, the assembly command suddenly sounded. According to the plan, we were about to enter the Black Lands. I reluctantly entrusted Nero to Mari for now. Mari smiled and waved goodbye to me, reminding me not to do anything reckless. She softly comforted Nero not to be sad. But in the next second, Nero suddenly jumped out abruptly, and just then, Nero had actually jumped inside of my shadow. Mari was shocked and panicked. She tried to call out to me. However, I had already gotten deep into the crowd of colorists. On the other side, the orange colorist Arancho loudly announced immediate departure, repeatedly emphasizing that everyone's safety took precedence over the mission. She seriously informed everyone that scouts reported the existence of extremely dangerous unidentified creatures in Area 21, and a corpse of an A-rank creature had also been found. Just then, a panicked report came from the rear. Colorist Red took a group of inexperienced rookies and left the main force without authorization. The commander was both angry and anxious. She helplessly complained about Colorist Red doing whatever he pleased, and could only silently pray in her heart, hoping he could bring all the rookies back in one piece. At this time, we had long gone deep into the hinterland of the Black Lands. It was pitch black all around, so dark you couldn't even see your hand in front of you. Ellie nervously asked Colorist Red if we had taken the wrong path, worried we would encounter danger. Colorist Red responded calmly that our destination was fundamentally different from the main force. Looking at Gale and Ellie beside me, my heart was full of confusion, asking them why they were here. I originally thought Colorist Red only planned to take me alone to act. Gale immediately declared he would absolutely not let me get ahead, while Ellie also spoke frankly that Colorist Red never trained people, and she couldn't let me enjoy such an opportunity alone. Only then did Colorist Red explain that he wasn't going to treat us like children. However, with him around, there would absolutely be no danger, because he was also a member of this team. He then said no more and led us to continue forward. Not long after, we encountered mutant beasts. They all prepared to attack us, and everyone immediately dispersed and engaged in fierce combat with the mutant beasts. In actual combat, Ellie truly experienced the horror of the Black Lands. The sense of oppression here almost made her unable to catch her breath, completely different from past training. She clearly realized she had to conserve her energy, otherwise she would soon be exhausted. She knew she had to move smarter and think 2 steps ahead. No matter what, she didn't want to lose to me. During the fierce battle, Ellie suddenly realized something was wrong and couldn't help but ask me, why do you never use a spoit? Even during the previous exam, you never used one. Hearing this, I was a bit embarrassed, and frankly admitted that I simply didn't have a spoit. That thing was expensive, and since I could handle battles without it, I never used one. Hearing these words, Gale's face was full of disbelief. A spoit was the standard weapon for all pioneers. Colorists injected their own color into it, and then they could expel monsters. This was common sense. Gale realized that I didn't even need one, that I could take down mutant beasts with just my bare hands. His hand holding the sword trembled ceaselessly, thinking that he actually lost to someone who didn't even use basic weapons. Feeling both ashamed and angry in his heart, he swore that one day he would personally defeat me to wash away this humiliation. Colorist Red looked at the deeply stimulated Gale Gale and Ellie. It seems like both geniuses had their fighting spirits aroused. Things are going to get way more interesting from now on. He told us that the destination was nearby, telling us to put in a little more effort to complete this mission, and then we would celebrate together afterwards. At this time, the ground was already covered with defeated mutant beasts. Let's take a short rest. This has only just begun, so everyone be careful. We'll stop for 10 minutes, then continue moving. I've consumed too much energy. I couldn't help but turn my head to look, instantly stunned. This was none other than personal ink, a precious supply that is refined to allow colorists to quickly recover their power, an essential item for every pioneer. They were all custom made to perfectly match everyone's exclusive color, and were priceless. And yet these people in front of me drank it like drinking water, acting as if nothing was out of the ordinary. I felt a little jealous, but didn't mind it because I didn't have a need for it anyway. Kate, what are you doing? Just then, I began absorbing the residual energy of the mutant beasts on the ground. In just a short moment, an abundant power surged through my whole body. I immediately felt my condition was full and I had completely recovered. Are you really okay? I'm fine. Don't worry. I've done this several times already. But Ellie pushed further. Are you sure? You just directly absorbed the energy of a mutant beast. Rest is over. Kids, I hope you're all ready, because we've arrived at the place. At this moment, a massive barrier-like mass of black energy suspended in front of us. Its oppressive feeling hitting our faces. What exactly is this? This is why I need your help. See for yourself. As he spoke, a mass of scorching flames suddenly ignited in his palm, shooting violently towards the black barrier. Colorist Red's attack collided with the black barrier with a loud bang. However, the attack was actually directly absorbed by the black barrier, and the barrier remained unscathed. See that? We can't destroy it. It automatically absorbs all chromatic energy, and the more it absorbs, the stronger it gets. This absorption ability is very similar to your ability, isn't it? That's why I felt you might successfully destroy it. There is a path inside leading to the ruins. The main target of this exploration is right within the ruins. Find the Stella Fragment. Stella Fragment? I've never heard of it, and just like my companions, I knew nothing about this. It's no big deal. Shining City is just looking for it. I'll explain all this to you later. For now, let's get rid of this barrier first. I took a deep breath, walked towards the black barrier, and pressed my hand onto it without hesitation. In an instant, violent black energy frantically surged into my palm, and that massive barrier visibly twisted and shrank in my hand. Colorist Red was visibly satisfied. This is actually working. In the next second, the black barrier directly diminished at a visible speed. I knew it. Kate, your ability would be of great use to us. The vibrations in the air, why are they so strong? At this rate, the mutant beasts are going to be attracted by the noise. Just then, an overwhelming number of mutant beasts swarmed out from all directions, instantly completely surrounding us. It seems there are quite a lot. Ellie and Gale immediately prepared for battle. Let's handle the mutant beasts while Kate takes down the barrier. Block them and wipe them all out. The two immediately charged out to fight. Gale's longsword had long been thirsty for action. With one horizontal strike, a large swath of mutant beasts fell to the ground. Meanwhile, Ellie was not to be outdone. Sword aura burst forth, and countless ice spikes instantly pierced through the charging mutant beasts. I was ready to strike at any time, but do they really need my help? I thought I'd have to clean up the mess behind them, but they seem to handle it with ease by themselves. It's nice when things are handled on their own. But at this moment, my heart sank suddenly, and a strong sense of unease swept over me. What's going on? In that barrier just now, I felt a bizarre and domineering power that shared the same origin as mine. Is it because of my color? I must be careful. If I get distracted, it might suck away all my power instead. Don't underestimate me. Wait and see who is stronger. I gritted my teeth tightly, fully urged my ability, and increased my output to madly absorb that residual bizarre energy. Finally, I succeeded. All the black energy was thoroughly absorbed by me. However, looking at the pitch black, endless passage before my eyes, I was stunned. Is this really the entrance to the ruins? I couldn't even see the end. Leader, I've finished absorbing the barrier. Beautifully done. Bringing you here was indeed the right choice. The barrier is destroyed. Quickly regroup. There's no need to deal with the remaining mutant beasts. But in the next second, Colorist Red noticed an incoming danger. In a flash, he grabbed both Gale and Ellie. At the same time, all the remaining mutant beasts were all blasted away, every single one getting torn to shreds. Gale was completely dumbfounded. Am I dreaming? How is this possible? The ground cracked open like a chessboard, and an extremely terrifying pressure pressed down from afar. I knew it. It was suspiciously going too well for us. I heard long ago that a dangerous monster was detected nearby. However, I didn't expect it to happen to be that guy. It seems there's no time to slack off. We looked up and saw a figure slowly appearing. That person carried 5 weapons on his back, his hair half black and half white, and the aura around him was violent and cold. At a glance, he was an extremely dangerous, ruthless character. Colorist Red immediately ordered sternly, "Everyone listen to me. Hurry into the ruins and find the Stella Fragment. You must work together this time. I believe in you." I was instantly startled, looking at him in disbelief. Are you saying it will only be just us? As soon as my words fell, I was pushed fiercely by him. Enough talking and get to work. Immediately, my body uncontrollably plummeted downward. Colorist Red, what can we do just by ourselves? Give us a clear explanation. Above, the battle between Colorist Red and that mysterious monster was on the verge of breaking out. I didn't know how much time had passed, but I hit the ground heavily, baring my teeth in pain. It hurts to death. I turned on the lantern and forced myself to stand up, and just as I was about to look around, my eyes instantly widened. Before my eyes was actually a stretch of ancient ruins. I was completely amazed at this scene. It was unbelievable that a place like this even existed. At this moment, Ellie and Gale finally regrouped with me. In any case, what is this place? It's much bigger than I imagined. I never expected to find traces of an ancient civilization here. Asking us to find the Stella fragment in such grand ruins, how is that even possible? We don't even know what that thing looks like. Hearing this, I agreed with his point. This was simply looking for a needle in a haystack. If Nero was here, he would be a great asset at a time like this. As soon as the words left my mouth, I heard a familiar call, and a small figure fiercely rushed over, hugging my lower leg. It was Nero. Wait a minute, why are you here? What exactly is this? A creature? My heart skipped a beat. They all saw it. I could no longer find an excuse to hide it. As matters stood, I couldn't hide it even if I wanted to, and maybe I can show them how this little guy could be of use. Come take a look. I have a way to easily find the Stella fragment. At this moment, I explained everything to Gale and Ellie. So to simply put it, we rely on this little guy to help us find the fragment. Nero can find it in the blink of an eye. Gale clearly didn't believe it. Stop spouting nonsense. If there really was such a rare creature, I would have heard of it long ago. Who are you fooling? Just wait and see. Nero, show this idiot how amazing you are. Nero immediately leaped up, spinning rapidly in the air. In the next second, it actually turned into a guiding beacon emitting a faint light. This scene directly dumbfounded Gale and Ellie. The two couldn't even make a comment. We immediately followed Nero forward. I've never heard of such a thing existing. Where on earth did he find this thing? Do you think there's a fragment nearby? Nero responded crisply. I'll be counting on you, Nero. As soon as the words fell, Nero seemed to detect something. Immediately, he fiercely lunged towards a direction. It seems it found something. That way. I immediately followed the light trail left behind. So it's over there. Do we still have to go deeper than this? What are you dawdling for? If you're scared, stay in the back. Who says I'm scared? I retorted unyieldingly. This place was even more massive than I imagined, making it entirely impossible to guess what it was originally used for. Nero changed directions. It definitely found something. In the next second, a loud bang crashed over. My heart suddenly tightened, and a metal leg began to approach us. It really did find something. But what the hell is this thing? This doesn't look like a normal mutant beast. At this moment, the mechanical creature shot out a white light that shone onto Ellie. Ellie froze entirely. The creature was able to read a code from her. Immediately after, it did the same with Gale. After a moment, I realized what it was doing. It was reading our hexadecimal color codes. Just then, the white light began to scan me as well. Color of the Black Witch detected. Threat identified. Initiating elimination. In an instant, its metal arm came rushing towards me, and before I could react, I was directly blasted away. This damn thing. Why did it suddenly attack me? Regardless, the fact that it struck first meant it was looking for a fight. Get ready to get smashed. I swung my fist and directly clashed with it. Why is this thing so hard? My hands were almost numb. Damn it. What exactly is this thing? At this time, Ellie and Gale struck simultaneously, attacking with all their might. But when their color power landing directly on the opponent, they didn't even leave a scratch. This thing might not be a creature at all. Ordinary attacks were entirely ineffective against it. At the critical moment, I suddenly found a dark ink-colored heart-shaped core at its chest. That must be its weak point. Without hesitation, I rushed towards that core with all my might, and blasted the core with a stiff body shot. It instantly launched a counterattack, and I could barely dodge its quick swing. Regular attacks were entirely useless. What should I do? That dark power from last time, if I let darkness envelop my body, I might be able to turn the tide. However, that consumed too much color, so if that's the case, I'll just wrap the dark power around my fist instead. I locked onto the timing, gathered all my strength, and ruthlessly smashed out a punch. In an instant, that monster shattered with a loud bang under my fist. The monster was defenseless, and its glowing eyes suddenly turned off, finally turning into a ground of fragments. I panted. It was simpler than I thought. To the side, I recognized that the core was still intact. So, this is its core. It's different from what we usually see. Mario will definitely be very happy to see this. What was this move you just used? I thought you only knew how to absorb color. How did you do it? I must know. After all, we might have to fight next. Meanwhile, Gale complained. Why didn't you use this move earlier? I wasted my color. This move consumes too much color. I originally only wanted to save it for the final moment. Just at this moment, the three of us were startled simultaneously. Did I see that right? That door, it opened on its own. Nero directly ran to the door, barking madly at me. Nero, what's wrong? Is there something behind it? I don't see anything. Are you sure this place is not dangerous? This barrier is kind of like the one from earlier. But in the next second, a terrifying black color abruptly erupted, sweeping over madly. What the hell? We are being sucked in. Gale screamed in terror, complaining endlessly. Damn it, why did you have to touch it? Amidst the screams, the three of us were forcibly pulled in, and our surroundings instantly plunged into pitch blackness. What should we do now? What kind of hellish place have we fallen into again? It's too dark here. I can't see anything. Is everyone okay? What is this? My color. It disappeared. What the hell? What just happened? At this time, in the Eastern Government Office, the atmosphere was oppressive to the extreme. The director roared furiously at his subordinate. Where has that idiot gone now? And why his location hadn't been pinpointed yet? Colorist Red is currently on an expedition mission. He told us to pass the message to you, the director, to not interfere in this matter. A black color. How could he take something that dangerous into the field? Even if Colorist Red is a hero revered by everyone, he has gone too far this time. We have already tried our absolute best to suppress suppress the panic from the black monster. But look now, the council has completely exploded, and everyone suspects a new black tide is imminent. How exactly am I supposed to explain all this? If this goes on, I will definitely be severely reprimanded by the higher-ups. At least give me something I can use as an excuse. Camellia. However, the commander of the Dawn Pioneering Corps, Camellia, told the director to relax. She frankly admitted the director's situation was indeed tricky, but since when had colorist Red ever done anything without thinking? They all knew clearly that that person was completely worthy of trust. Moreover, taking such a big risk might instead bring everyone unexpected benefits. They only needed to trust him. Suddenly, Camellia reacted to her bitter coffee. I know as long as colorist Red is there, the worst can be avoided. However, the director was distracted by Camellia adding sugar cubes. Camellia, please focus on the topic at hand. The black color is indeed dangerous. It's synonymous with death and fear now, especially the first black tide that the Black Witch had caused. During that period, humanity was nearly driven to extinction. Monsters ran rampant everywhere, and the Black Lands was born as a result, and a new black tide would arrive sooner or later. This was only a matter of time, and exactly for this reason, their pioneering corps was so desperate to explore and reclaim land simply to survive. You've read the report. Anomalous phenomena in the city were increasing, such as that black colorist who suddenly appeared. We are not yet certain if there was a correlation between these phenomena, but one thing was certain. We had to gather all available forces to cope with the crisis. We must use every asset available. Even that black color regarded as a taboo must be utilized. The director looked troubled. It was easier said than done, but ultimately he relented, stating he would try his best. Perhaps in the future, this child possessing the black color would become the sole hope of Shining City. Meanwhile, the three of us were still standing in the black void. What happened to us? All my color disappeared. But why do you still have yours? I don't know the reason either. Perhaps it's because I have the color of black. Just then, the two others began to feel weak, as if their bodies lost their strength. Meanwhile, I was confused as to why this was happening to them. Is it because this is their first time without any color? And ever since arriving here, I felt something was off all over. If I focused my attention, I could see many bizarre new things I had never seen before. Just then, the three of us heard a muffled voice in the distance. Who's there? Come out quickly. However, I recognized these whispering voices, yet they were not quite the same from before. Without a doubt, it felt like something bad is about to happen. In the next second, all three of us widened our eyes. A creature appeared out of thin air in front of us. When did it get here? I didn't even sense anything. Just then, it had already pointed a finger at me, and black energy instantly entwined my entire body. The black power inside my body uncontrollably erupted. A massive black vortex appeared out of thin air, as if it was going to thoroughly devour everything around it. Under the blood-red sky, a clawing shadow towered over everything, and below were countless powerful mutant beasts, and that shadow was lofty and supreme like a deity. Is this a memory? This looks more like reality. Just who am I? Who exactly am I? A gentle voice sounded in my mind, saying I needed a name. From today onwards, you are called K. Go on now, find your own light, find your own color. I abruptly woke up from the illusion, my back already soaked in cold sweat. These visions are starting to get more creepy, but the person at the end, I had no doubt, it was Lumiel. Before I could recover from the shock, I saw Gale wildly waving his sword, roaring for everyone to go die, his emotions completely out of control. Ellie, on the other hand, was incessantly muttering that she was sorry to her sister, that everything was her fault. Their condition was terrible to the extreme. It must be the work of that creature just now. Regardless, we have to leave here quickly. Just at this moment, Nero suddenly appeared. Seeing this, I was overjoyed and hurriedly rushed forward to ask if it was safe. Nero seemed to have sensed something. I asked if there was something nearby. It signaled me to follow its track. But looking at Gale and Ellie, whose conditions were out of control, we had to help them first. A flash of inspiration hit me. Perhaps Nero's ability could save them. In the next second, a massive orb of light enveloped the two of them. Black energy slowly seeped out of their bodies, and the two finally sobered up. I was overjoyed, told them to stay put and not move recklessly, and went alone to investigate the situation. I walked alone for a long time but still found nothing. The bizarre whispering voices by my ears never stopped, and at this point, I was already tired of hearing the cryptic messages, saying no color can ever stain me. Just then, a gleam of light suddenly appeared before my eyes. I hurriedly ran over, and sure enough, I finally found it. I can confirm this is a Stella fragment, but its shape is very strange. Could it be that every fragment has a different shape? I didn't dare to stay longer, only wanting to quickly store the fragment away and get far from this bizarre place. Suddenly, the Stella fragment began to react, and in the next second, my absorption ability actually operated on its own uncontrollably. Fortunately, it only lasted for a second, so there shouldn't be any major issue. Just then, the black barrier around us began to retreat, and the entire room was finally clear of the black void. I hurriedly returned, calling out to Gale and Ellie. Then I took out the Stella fragment, telling them I found what we were looking for. Is this tiny thing really our goal? Meanwhile, Ellie asked if my body was okay, and I reassured her that I was fine. Suddenly, Nero had actually opened its mouth, and with a single gulp, he had swallowed the precious Stella fragment. The three of us were instantly dumbfounded, frozen in place and unable to speak, only staring at Nero in shock, completely unable to understand exactly why it had to do this. Nero, that thing isn't food. However, Gale had already rushed forward with red eyes. Damn it, how dare you do this? Spit it out. We fought so hard to get here. Gale, let go of Nero. Just then, The ground beneath our feet suddenly shook violently, and crushed stones fell. Why is it starting to collapse? We must leave here as soon as possible. We tried our absolute best and rushed towards the exit as the ruins began to collapse. At this time, a group of Pioneer members had gathered in front of the dead A-class mutant beast. Just beside the creature, there was a slash on the ground that was emanating a black color. Damn it, I knew there was a dangerous creature nearby. I was wondering what kind of sacred being it was. Could this mark be from that person? I'm certain that madman has appeared again. He's not called the Sword Demon for nothing. I originally thought its appearance was merely because we intruded into its territory, but I didn't expect it to actually be one of the Black Witch's black hands. We've also received reports lately that the frequency of various creatures appearing is increasing. Do you think this could be related to the Sword Demon, Leader Arantia? The investigation ends here. We will retreat right now. Currently, we have secured enough ink and crystals. Do not take any more risks. Our mission is primarily to train new members, so this should temporarily suffice. But at that moment, a dazzling red light suddenly erupted above. This color, there's no doubt in my mind that it's colorist red, and the one facing off against him, could it be that terrifying Sword Demon? In the next second, a sharp sword aura cut through the air, striking directly towards their group. Arantia's face changed drastically. Everyone, get out of the way. However, the sword slash was already getting too close. At this moment, she had already hoisted the large hammer in her hand, her aura skyrocketing, determined to return this sudden attack with interest. With a smash of the hammer, the rumbling sound was deafening, and the gigantic sword slash was dispersed. The expedition mission is over. Everyone return to the outpost. You guys go. I will go support colorist red. In an instant, Arantia's figure turned into a flash of light, speeding towards the direction where red was fighting. At this moment, colorist red and the Sword Demon clashed. The ground cracked open towards the surroundings. Red and the Sword Demon's sword auras continuously collided in the air, sparks flying, and roaring sounds rising one after another. The two were locked in a stalemate. The Sword Demon fiercely gripped a long spear on his back. Bizarre black energy instantly entwined on it, and he hurled the long spear at Red without hesitation. However, colorist Red was quick enough to block it with his sword. With a loud clang, the long spear was deflected away. At the same time, the Sword Demon took the opportunity to slash at colorist Red. However, Red hurriedly picked up his sword to block to the side. Just then, a scorching heat wave rushed towards the Sword Demon. A great brilliant flame erupted from the ground. The Sword Demon hurriedly flew backwards, clearly not expecting Red's attack to be so fierce. Beautifully done, mister. Let's see if you can dodge this attack too. Try it if you can. In the next moment, she ruthlessly smashed her hammer towards the Sword Demon, shattering the ground beneath. The Sword Demon's face was full of disbelief, clearly not expecting there to be another attacker. Arantia landed steadily on the ground, and Red couldn't help but smile. You're late. I thought I was going to die here. But colorist Arantia replied, stop talking nonsense. I've already tried my absolute best to attack it, but from the looks of it, it's still not enough. At this moment, the Sword Demon looked fiercer than ever. With your color, it should have been easier, but don't underestimate it. It's a good thing I arrived in time. All the colorists, including me, don't want anything to happen to you, colorist Red. Anyway, now that the two of us have joined forces, it will be much easier. Let's chop off one of this damn witch's black hand together. Looking at the two joining forces before him, the Sword Demon's black energy became even more violent, but at this crucial moment, a few wretched voices suddenly reached their ears. Just a little bit more. Hey, don't push me. I almost fell off. Hurry up and climb up. Finally, we made it to the top. This is my first time being so glad to see the Blacklands. I never want to go back there. At this moment, the Sword Demon was in between us and the colorist. In the face of this great danger, the two colorists immediately took action. Get away from that creature. Just run away. Before the words fell, the Sword Demon suddenly shot towards us. However, Gale and Ellie immediately drew their swords, directly rushing towards the Sword Demon. But with a crack, the swords in their hands were actually shattered to pieces by the Sword Demon with a single strike. Gale and Ellie's faces were full of shock, unable to believe their eyes. Just at this moment, the Sword Demon swung his sword again. The sharp sword slashed directly towards the defenseless Gale and Ellie, but in an instant, I subconsciously rushed forward, blocking in front of them. I managed to cover my arm in black color, but it was not enough. My body uncontrollably fell to the ground. In the next second, the Sword Demon delivered a backhanded strike, heavily hitting Gale's stomach, while Ellie was grabbed by the neck by the Sword Demon, becoming a hostage in his hands. The Sword Demon then began to speak, ordering colorist Red and Arantia to stop. Do not chase me. Hand over the key to me, and I won't hurt her. On the contrary, if you don't listen to me, she will die. Meanwhile, I was laying on the ground like a dead dog. The severe pain from my severed arm almost made me faint. But at this moment, colorist Red's murderous intent went to the extreme. You damn bastard. But the Sword Demon didn't bite at all. His tone grew more hurried, carrying a threat. Hurry up, make a choice. Arantia's face was ashen, yet she was helpless. Damn bastard. What key are you exactly talking about? I completely don't understand. As soon as her words fell, the two were suddenly shocked. Covered in black aura, I actually slowly stood up. This sudden change made even the Sword Demon full of shock, his voice carrying a trace of trembling. What is this? Who are you? The black color surrounded me, even beginning to form a new hand as well. The Sword Demon was completely bewildered. How can he still manage to stand up? But most importantly, how does this human possess the black color? Just then, my severed hand began to regenerate rapidly. I slowly extended my palm towards him. The Sword Demon demon was caught off guard. He started to get sucked into my direction. Arancha and Red on the side were completely dumbfounded watching. I grabbed the sword demon's neck with one hand, and at this moment, the sword demon was completely restrained by me as I lifted him into the air. Come over here quickly. Damn it. Kay, did the black color conquer you? Don't tell me he has become one of the Black Witch's black hand. Only at this time did the sword demon truly realize something was wrong. He's stealing my power. I wasn't imagining it. He really is the same as her. This child is the key. In the next second, the black color radiating from my body began to form mouths, each one thirsting unbearably, staring right at the enemy. The sword demon hurriedly grabbed a sword hilt. Instantly, he slashed off all those mouths condensed from black aura. I can't win against him like this. I must change strategy. Let's start with his arm first. Immediately after, the dense network of sword slashes swept over once more, but the sword demon found in horror that no matter how he attacked, he couldn't cause the slightest damage to me. Without any hesitation, I grabbed the blade of his sword, and just below the sword demon, the black color with starving mouths began to close in on him. The sword demon hurriedly jumped into the air as the black color fiercely tried to swallow him whole. He never thought that I could actually be strong to this extent. Just then, a voice came from the side. Where are you looking? Arancha had taken the opportunity to strike. Take this. Go ahead and die with this attack. The hammer strike hit directly at the sword demon's torso. However, he hastily used his sword blade to block. Even the sword demon knew that things were bad. The sword demon immediately tried to retreat since he has found the key that he was looking for. Weren't you quite arrogant just now? Do you really think you can escape? Colorist Red, stop him. We absolutely cannot let him enter the depths. Did you think you could just leave like this? Before his words fell, densely packed red particles emerged on his sword. This was Colorist Red's skill. Chroma, Annihilation. As the sword slashed down, the sword demon let out a shrill scream, and one arm was directly chopped off. And even the ground was cleaved with a deep ravine by this sword. His severed and burning hand fell to the ground. Damn it, this is Chroma. I can't regenerate from this. Let's fight properly now, shall we? I will send you to meet your companions. A new round of fierce attacks followed one after another. It won't just end like this next time. I will come back. I will take back the key. With one final push from the sword demon, he instantly disappeared into the shadows. At this point, Colorist Red couldn't chase him anymore. Colorist Red, do we continue pursuing? Red shook his head. Let's stop here for this time. We were just a little bit away. But Colorist Red continued. There's no other way, because we are not prepared to enter the depths. Although we have a lantern, we can only go this far. The Black Lands acts just like their shield. Just then, Ellie and Gale walked over. Sorry for causing you trouble. Red dismissed this. Don't worry, seeing you alive makes me more glad. But Red changed the subject, his gaze falling on me. The question now is, how do we deal with Kay? Is he still even conscious? I knew his power could be dangerous, but I didn't expect it to reach this extent. What's with this ominous aura? Is he absorbing the power of the Black Lands? But in the next second, the black color began to dissipate. Is he waking up now? Red and Arancha were both shocked at what they saw. Could he be a colorless person? At this moment, I completely fell to the ground, still unconscious. The few people stood quietly in place, looking at the unconscious me. What exactly is the background of this guy? On the other side, the sword demon fled back into the depths of the Black Lands. The colored flame at the stump of his severed arm was still continuously dripping, causing him to break out in cold sweat from the pain. Fortunately, not long after, his arm was finally able to regenerate. I wasn't the first to arrive. You look terrible. You just got beaten up, right? I told you long ago not to always put yourself in danger and poke your nose around everywhere. The newcomer was the mutant creature known as Viper. I'm extremely bored anyway. Tell me quickly, what happened? You're not the kind of person easily defeated. Speak quickly. Who beat you up like this? She looked down at the ground, her eyes lighting up. These bright red burn marks. You fought with Colorist Red? You actually dared to face that monster directly and still managed to escape alive? He's a powerhouse fundamentally unmatched by ordinary people. He is exactly the kind of person who fights even putting his life on the line. Every battle lingers at the gates of hell. You felt it too, didn't you? The Black Witch's curtain has been opened recently. You sensed it too. Do you know who unsealed it? If you know, just tell me. You know very well what unsealing the curtain means, don't you? However, the sword demon refused to share any information. He made up his mind that he will be the one to take the key for himself. That bastard makes it too obvious that he is hiding something. Don't worry, sister. We will just find it ourselves. We don't need this kind of bastard at all. Looking at his expression, it's obvious that something opened the curtain, and moreover, this matter involves the humans of Shining City. As long as we keep sending out other monsters, we will eventually find clues, won't we? If that's the case, let's prepare to make some tides. At this moment, back in Shining City, I was already lying on the bed at the outpost base, weak all over, without the slightest shred of clear consciousness. Red stayed by my bed, the bottom of his eyes full of irresolvable sorrow. I'm really useless. I promised you guys I wouldn't let you get hurt, but obviously, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I will bear full responsibility for everything that happened. Clenching the broken pocket watch in his hand, he felt as if he hasn't changed from his past self. What a pathetic hero I am. We should be glad everyone is safe and sound. We're only safe now all thanks to you and Colorist Arancha. I must become stronger, and next time I will never cause trouble for everyone again. Meanwhile, Mari suddenly revealed a look of nervousness. She never dreamed that she could actually meet the most famous colorists of the entire city here, and these people claimed to be Kay's colleagues. At first, Mari was full of suspicion, even feeling that me turning into this state was exactly the doing of these colorists, but seeing their sincere expressions, she also felt they didn't look like bad guys. Wake up quickly. Kay, you can't leave me alone to face this situation. The doctor said you would wake up soon. Get up quickly. Just then, Red suddenly looked at Mari. Is your name Mari? You are Kay's friend? Don't worry, he will wake up soon. But I do have a question I want to ask you. We are looking for a creature named Nero. Do you know where he is? But right after saying this, Nero began coming out of my shoulder. Gale instantly widened his eyes. He's right there. You've finally shown yourself. Leader, he's the one who swallowed the Stella fragment. Damn Nero, do you know how hard it is to explain clearly how we lost the fragment? Get over here right now. However, Nero swiftly managed to avoid Gale, leaping into Mari's arms. I was worried to death. Nero, so, you've been hiding in Kay's shadow all along. You don't know how glad I am that you're okay. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? There's a familiar feeling. Am I imagining things? But at this moment, Nero's head suddenly enlarged rapidly. In the next second, he actually spat out the Stella fragment. What? He spat it out? I was just worrying about how to get the fragment back. Red grabbed the Stella fragment. We finally found another piece, but the price was sacrificing so many people. Suddenly, I began to remember what I saw during the fight. My only thought at that time was to step in, to save Ellie and Gale. This memory jolted me awake. I suddenly sat up in a panic, looking blankly at Red, Ellie, and Gale in front of me. Where am I? I'm still alive? No, wait, I've turned back into a colorless again? It's over. I must find an excuse to explain. Otherwise, I will definitely be kicked out of the team like before. What's wrong with you? You didn't commit any crimes, did you? Why do you look so worried? I don't care what you look like at all. What matters is this. The three of you completed the mission exceptionally well. I didn't expect you guys could really find the fragment, but be prepared. From now on, I will personally train you. From today on, you have officially joined the red team. Understand? Hearing this, I couldn't help show a nervous smile, until finally, I let out a sigh of relief. I'll leave first. Feel free to talk amongst yourself. Dismiss after you're done. I am going to meet Lady Luminous. You guys rest well. Arrange your own time freely before the next mission. I won't force you, but you have to give us an explanation. Do you still remember? I mean the things that happened after you lost consciousness. However, Colorist Red told me before to keep it a secret, so I responded. I remember almost nothing. I understand. Then I won't ask for now. Everyone has their own secrets to keep. Just then, they were worried about how I would get my color back, and hearing this, Mari immediately became smug. Don't worry, I have already made preparations. She began rummaging through boxes and cabinets. Found it. This is black ink. I stole it from the disposal site. Ellie was instantly dumbfounded. Isn't this the waste that can't be used as ink? Why did you bring such a dangerous thing? However, looking at that bottle of black ink, I couldn't help but praise. You really are a genius. Mari, this is my version of personal ink. I pulled off the bottle cap and drank it directly, while Ellie looked over judgingly. Soon, the color began to come back to my hair. Finally, my whole body was filled with power. I've come alive. I've finally returned to normal. Is this enough? If not, I can bring some more from my workshop. Really? You're too amazing. Are you done? Now that you guys are finally done spouting this nonsense, I'm going back. Gale paused, looking down at my arm. And your arm actually fully healed. He knew very well that only a few colorists could master high-tier regeneration abilities. How exactly did you do it? More importantly, answer my question first. Why did you sacrifice yourself for us? I touched my neck, saying somewhat embarrassedly about this, because I felt like you guys were in danger, and besides, I originally thought I could use my ability to block him, but it turned out to be of no use at all in the end, and instead caused you guys even more trouble. Don't tell me such nonsense. Who told you I needed help? This just confirms it. I still don't like you. Hey, you bastard. What are you doing? Let go of him right now. What crazy fit are you having? Gale fiercely let go of me. He then turned and walked away without saying a word. Don't be angry at him. He has always been like this. In any case, I will take my leave as well. Alright, Ellie, thank you for coming to see me. Soon enough, we will have a showdown to determine the winner. We should go too, Mari. Yes, let's go home. Just then, I remembered that I obtained something from Mari. I picked this up after destroying a golem during exploration. I thought you might be interested. It's this. Seeing this, Mari widened her eyes. Could this really be? At the same time, Red arrived at a place of 7 colors. The light here was dazzling and magnificent. As a blinding bright light lit up, a blurred human figure slowly appeared. The voice was gentle yet powerful. I've waited for you for a long time. It has been many days, but this time I have brought you good news. As you expected, we indeed can open the Black Witch's curtains, and the person Colorist Red was talking to was none other than Lady Luminous. At this time, in Mari's workshop, truly amazing. This is exactly the same as what I saw in books. This is definitely technology of an ancient civilization. This is a device fueled by ink. We have long been accustomed to this, but its efficiency is simply outrageous. It's hard to imagine that relying merely on faded ink, it could keep a ruined golem operating until today. This engineering technology is too unbelievable. To me, it looks no different from other cores. Is it really that special? Of course, this is a lucky find for any pioneering core. I really want to personally experience that era. It must have been a world of ancient technology that has now been lost. Is it that amazing? If it's an ancient relic, it should sell for a high price. Don't you plan to sell it? However, Mari just got frustrated. You people who don't know the value of goods, do you think a technician like me would miss this opportunity for money? Obviously, I have to take it apart and study it. In any case, just look forward to it. Right now, my mind is bursting with inspiration. When the time comes, I'm going to make the perfect equipment it just for you. In any case, I was happy that Mari was excited about the gift, and so I picked up Nero and told Mari I would come back again later. Hang on a minute, I just remembered, someone was looking for you. When the incident happened, in order to restore your body, I went deep into Shadow District to get ink. Some people I had never seen around here came and talked to me. At first, I thought they were just punks from other blocks, but they actually knew about our situation. You are Mari, Kay's friend, is that right? We want to meet the one everyone has been talking about recently, the one who wields the black color. I felt the situation was bad, so I immediately ran away. If you see suspicious looking people, don't get involved with them. Alright then, be careful on the road, get home safely. This situation is indeed unsettling, however our current area is pretty safe, so there shouldn't be any major problems. At this moment, I kept my hood on as I walked back home. Finally, the exhaustion has caught up to me. How long has it been since I went home? I should hurry back and take a rest, but at this time, I noticed the abnormality on the street. Lately, it seemed there were a lot more drifters. If those people gathering in the underground areas all ran up here, did something happen? Could it be a turf war has broken out between gangs? Just then, Nero beside me suddenly became anxious, barking non-stop at a pitch-black alley. Is there something in that alley? Hey, Nero, you know going deep into Shadow District is very dangerous. But Nero kept barking, showing no intention of stopping at all. Alright then, I'll go take a look. Nero's intuition was always very accurate. There must be something over there. It was the perfect time to practice my new technique. I concentrated color into my eyes. Previously, my vision had changed on its own several times, and I could see things usually unseen. If I could mimic that state, perhaps it would be very useful for scouting in the dark. I concentrated my mind. This was the skill, inverted sight. Surprisingly, it actually worked. In the alley, there was a figure that was emitting various colors of light. There was actually someone there. Hey, who's there? However, the figure began to move away, as if trying to lead me somewhere. Could it be the person who wanted to see me? If that was really the case, I absolutely couldn't let him just run away. For Mari's safety, I had to catch him and figure out his identity. But just as I was about to rush over, the scene before my eyes reversed again. What is going on? It was clearly an alley just now, and the entrance actually disappeared. As expected, you are very interesting. I originally didn't plan to show myself so quickly. You should feel proud. Being able to find me first is not something just anyone can do. Startled, I violently backed up a few steps. Who are you? Nice to meet you, child of black. My name is Celestia. Hearing this name, and then looking at the light radiating from her body, I had realized only one person could emit this kind of light. The person in front of me was actually the current Lady Luminous. The most important person of Shining City came to find me. Why was she keeping an eye on me? Just at this moment, countless bizarre whispers suddenly sounded in my mind again. That light, I want it. Devour it. Devour that light right now. At this moment, the black color began to take over once again. Celestia also saw my condition was wrong. So you have suddenly been swallowed by the black? Why did this happen? I didn't do anything. Although I heard about this from Red, seeing it with my own eyes is even more fascinating. It's hard to imagine that being consumed by such dense darkness, you are actually still alive. You haven't turned into a black hand either. The Black Witch, Nyx, perhaps you have some unknown connection with her. Although the council members advocate eliminating you, I do not wish to do so. Watching you endure the erosion of darkness yet not being completely devoured is already enough to prove your potential. In order to protect the city, we have to adapt new methods. If we can utilize the power of black, we must make use of it, because great success is always accompanied by the choice of risk. So first, may we have a talk? After speaking, she fiercely smashed the staff in her hand to the ground. As the staff hit the ground, the whispers in my mind gradually dissipated. Damn it, that's the clearest voice I've heard so far. I'm rather curious what kind of voice that was. Could it be that you heard the voice of the Black Witch? I don't know. It was just some bizarre whispers. Celestia smiled. No need to be so nervous. I just heard Red mention you and wanted to meet you. That's all. Before this, I want to express gratitude to you on behalf of the entire city. However, I was confused. What do you mean by that? When have I ever done anything for the city? To my surprise, she pulled out the Stella fragment that we obtained. Not many people know what kind of significance this fragment holds for the city. Since it was you who retrieved this precious light, you deserve this gratitude. But that was achieved together by me and the team members. You want to say this was the result of the joint exploration by you and everyone in the red team, right? I am aware of this point as well. But the key is, it was you who opened the Black Witch's curtain. Haven't you realized what an earth-shattering thing you did? Even a luminous like me cannot open the Black Witch's curtain, because only the Black Witch herself can open it. Stella fragments are scattered across the entire Black Land, yet most are sealed within the Black Witch's curtain, and we have always been fighting with the Black Hands for these fragments. Up to today, what we've found is merely an extremely small number of fragments exposed outside the barriers. I understand, but why are you telling me this? I don't even know what use these fragments have. What exactly is this? That makes Colorist Red, and even you, care so much. Rather than explaining, seeing it with your own eyes will make you understand better. Do not casually talk about this to others. In this city, only a small portion of people know the inside story. As soon as her voice fell, the space around me suddenly began to distort, disappear, and restructure. Do not panic. We merely transferred to the place I reside. You are the first person directly brought here by me to be shown all this. Just consider it your luck. Watch carefully. The dazzling light that blooms out in the darkness. As soon as the words fell, Celestia tossed the Stella fragment in her hand into the air. In the next second, a blinding 7-colored light bloomed in the air. everywhere. Wherever the light passed, the surrounding darkness retreated successively. I watched dumbfounded on the spot. Is this really happening? The black lands. It's actually being pushed back. At this time, the entire city had already exploded with excitement. Lady Luminous has pushed back the black lands and recovered our land. That pillar of light shooting into the sky yesterday, was it really Lady Luminous? For the first time in decades, humanity reclaimed territory from the erosion of the black lands. Some were also curious about what kind of legendary figure this Lady Luminous, who always rarely showed herself, exactly was. New land meant new rare resources, a steady stream of ink. There was also news saying that some families were forming new pioneering corps. This was a great opportunity to grab a share and get rich overnight. I put down the newspaper. The conversation I had with Lady Luminous yesterday clearly emerging in my mind. Did you see clearly? The use of the Stella fragments goes far beyond this. This thing you brought back is truly amazing, so you must be careful. The Black Hands are also coveting these fragments. Once they notice your power, they will pursue you relentlessly, wanting to snatch you away. But you don't need to worry too much either. This city has long been blocking their infiltration. If something really happens, I will protect you. Even so, it's still a pity. If possible, I really want to support you with all I have. But for this city to survive now, the consumption of manpower and resources has already exceeded the limit. I'm also trying my absolute best to stop the erosion of the Black Lands and cannot leave my post for long. Kay, you are very special. People will either fear your power or want to use it. I will do everything I can to prevent those bad things, so you just act according to your own will as a pioneer, like you are doing now. You should go back now. It was a pleasure talking with you. I will also ensure the red team receives the rewards they deserve. I've already rested for a day. It's time to get going. Just then, I remembered Mari. She was frowning in worry over the nearly exhausted ink. Since I'm free now, I might as well go mine. Just treat it as reliving old times, and it can also bring her peace of mind. I walked all the way in front of an imposing building. I truly didn't expect that the day would come when I would have the privilege to enter this place. This is the assembly hall where various pioneers gather. When I was still a colorless person in the past, even approaching here felt like an extravagance. But now, I can finally stride in with my head held high as a true pioneer. Just entering the door, the eyes of the entire hall fell on me. Who is that person? Is that the one possessing the black color? Looking at him just makes me very uncomfortable. What exactly is the Dawn Pioneering Corps thinking? Some people asked about the details of the expedition. Some were curious how I caught Colorist Red's eye. At this moment, another red colorist took notice of me. He really is pitch black. What are you suddenly doing? You're not a child. Sit properly. Just curious. Wanting to see what the person Senior Red personally selected looks like. Speaking of which, Arantia, you were with him at the time. How did it feel? Is he as powerful as the rumors say? Well, he is indeed impressive, but at the same time, there is an elusive, unstable factor in him. We need to keep a close eye on him. Hearing you say this makes me even more curious. Kay of the Black Color, welcome. Is this your first time at the assembly hall? I nodded. If there's any work I can do, I am willing to try anything. You haven't received the official badge yet. Could you please fill out some information here first? For new pioneers, there are low-risk tasks like ink mining and clearing small mutant beasts available to accept. But before I could take the form, malicious whispers came from behind. Look at that color. Truly disgusting. How could a person possess a black color? Is he still human? This color is just like a mutant beast, full of ominousness and unease. Why are those idiots still hyping this up as a rarity? Don't you think so, boss? The red hair in the lead had an ashen face, his brows tightly knitted. Yeah, a black head. He's really an eyesore. I found him displeasing during that recent dispatch mission. He's just a clown who got lucky and was favored by a colorist. I really don't understand why they would take such a person seriously and keep him by their side. I heard he's just an inexperienced rookie. Even with a B-rank veteran like me joining, he might not be qualified. Hey, follow me. We can't let such a color taint our city, can we? Let's properly purify him. At this moment, I disguised myself as a miner and sneaked into the black lands outside the city. Great, found another piece. These are raw color stone. I've never found so many before. I heard the output of ores has been decreasing lately, and everyone is worrying about it. But these raw color stone can not only be used as fuel, but also to make weapons like ink. They will definitely fetch a good price. Mari will be super happy to see them. Thanks to my special eyes, collecting resources will become easy from now on. No matter how dark or hard to find things are, I can see them clearly relying on these eyes. However, I also know that these eyes consume too much color and cannot be used for a long time. Perhaps I won't need your help anymore. Nero, I dug out 2 large sacks of raw color stone, the harvest far exceeding expectations. Having finished so quickly, bringing so many things back now will inevitably draw unnecessary attention. I decided to kill some time first before going back, and incidentally practice the ability I had shelved. My main ability, Ink Drain. This ability must be triggered by direct touch with the hands, and sometimes it loses control whether I want it to or not. I must quickly learn to control it properly. I cut open a raw color stone and looked at the bright and vivid colors inside, but in the next second, I froze in place, watching helplessly as the color of the stone was absorbed out of thin air. Do you know how much this thing is worth? Don't absorb it without permission. However, this incident made me understand the feeling more. I realized that the more brilliantly dazzling the color, the easier it was to lose control, especially when hearing those strange whispering voices. I must maintain vigilance at all times. I began to ponder, did these absorbed colors merely simply mix into black? Every color must definitely have its own unique traits. Couldn't I use them in different ways? Speaking of which, doesn't black contain all colors? Perhaps, just like Lady Luminous, I might be able to use all colors. I took a deep breath, concentrated my mind, and tried hard to recall the feeling of Colorist Red's power, that scorching sensation of the whole body burning. But just then, the gathering black-red color dispersed. Sure enough, things are not that simple. I shouldn't set expectations too high at the beginning. I gritted my teeth and decided to practice continuously until sunset. Time trickled by, and only when the sun set did I withdraw my thoughts and prepare to return. Walking on the way back, a thought suddenly popped into my mind. Am I being too greedy? Just at this moment, several figures suddenly darted out from the roadside, blocking my path. You're finally here, you slow-moving bastard. What a coincidence to meet the city's celebrity here. It's a pleasure to meet you, you damn bastard. I thought you slipped away somewhere else. You have no respect for your seniors. Who exactly are you people? Who do you think we are? Idiot. None of your damn business. Can't you see the current situation? What are those glowing things in your sack? Are these color stones? And there's so many of them. Boss, did you hear that? This kid brought some high-quality goods. This is truly an unexpected delight. Did you get some inside information from somewhere? For a rookie, your luck is a bit too good, but you wanting to swallow all these things for yourself is too shameless. I think as long as I properly interrogate you, I'll know exactly where you mine these ores, right? Brothers, teach him a lesson. Make him not even dare to have the thought of resisting. If you end up dead, we won't take responsibility, so don't do anything stupid. I remained expressionless, casually throwing the 2 sacks of color stones onto the ground. What's going on here? You really are tactful. That's right, just be obedient like this. But before he could finish his words, his face was caved in by a forceful punch. Red hair on the side was instantly shocked. You little bastard, what exactly did you do? Whether it's pioneers or ordinary people, there are always guys like you. Don't waste my time, just come at me all together. Mari is still waiting for me. With red eyes holding a dagger, a man charged over, roaring. I dodged his attack easily sideways, and ruthlessly smashed a punch onto his face. His entire body flew backward, heavily smashing onto the wall. Before I could catch my breath, another person suddenly smashed a punch onto my face. However, I easily caught his fist, not even taking any damage. He screamed and was flung behind me, taking advantage of the moment he fell. I slammed his head down, crushing him completely. Since you rob others' things, you must pay the price. Now, as long as I finish off the last one. But at this moment, a bullet was already whistling through the air shot towards my chest. Fortunately, my reaction was extremely fast, abruptly dodging sideways. That was a close call. Such strong penetrative power. Could it be a long-range spoit? Damn it, actually dodged it. What a waste. One shot could have sent you to hell. I was displeased with you the first time I saw you. I also wanted to join the S-rank pioneering corps in the past. That's not a place just anyone can enter. But then I heard that you, a mere black color, got in so easily just because you had a colorist backing you. The first black color wielder? I really can't understand why colorists are so obsessed with a person possessing such a disgusting color. I've changed my mind. At first, I just thought about breaking a few of your bones and leaving it at that. But since my subordinates have ended up like this, I'll just slaughter you right here. No one will know about things that happen outside the city. After saying this, he raised his gun and fired at me crazily. Bullets shot over like raindrops. Relying on my agile movements, I dodged and quickly charged towards him. Finding an opportunity, I blasted out a punch, but he dodged it easily. He immediately shot out a flurry of short-range attacks, but the bullets flew past my ears. You bastard, stop sticking to me. It's so annoying. Upon shooting the ground, crystals of red color formed and shot out at me. This caught me off guard. What did he shoot at the ground? An ordinary bullet couldn't have this kind of effect. My color power is crystallization, capable of condensing rubies and hematite. Even if it's an ordinary ability, as long as I cooperate with this specially made spoit, I can easily produce various enormously powerful ammunition. As long as I don't fade color from excessive use of color, my ammunition is infinite. Compared to a garbage impurity with black color like you, we are fundamentally not on the same level. Seriously, this spoit is too tricky. Judging from his close combat skills, he's probably a B-rank pioneer. Although a piece of garbage, he indeed has some skills. I wanted to try absorbing these bullets, but even using black color to protect my entire body couldn't completely block them. If I tried rashly, I might suffer a fatal injury like last time. What should I do? Unexpectedly, the green-haired guy I had just beaten down actually got up and charged at me. What are you doing? Let go of me. Boss, I've grabbed him. Shoot quickly. A smile of ecstatic joy instantly appeared on Red Hair's face. Well done. Go ahead and die. Black color. I was stunned on the spot. There was nothing I could do. In the next second, the bullet passed directly through my skull. Great. A direct hit. But I didn't fall at all. Still standing steadily in place. How could you be completely fine? That was fortunate. The absorption was successful. If it failed, the consequences would be unimaginable. This is impossible. I clearly hit his head. You should be dead. You crazy monster. Just die now. But I didn't dodge, allowing the bullets to hit my body. Why did it stop? Keep shooting. Isn't this the ability you are so proud of? However, if your ammunition is exhausted, then it's my turn. This was my new skill. Black Veil. Stop messing around. Having taken this penetrating strike from me, you can't possibly be fine. This simply doesn't make sense. You are just deliberately bluffing. Even if you really blocked it, your insides must be riddled with holes. Nothing will change. As long as my ability doesn't disappear, your bullets will never pose a threat again. But only I myself knew clearly that this ability consumed far more color than absorbing. Its effects were remarkable, but the risks were equally immense. If used rashly again, my color would soon be depleted. I must quickly deal with that annoying spoit in his hands. If I wanted to get close, relying on my fists alone was fundamentally not enough. And so, I had an idea to try. Mind if I borrow it for a bit? I want to mimic your move. In an instant, a solid pitch-black long rod appeared out of thin air in my hand. Red Hair could not believe his eyes. I couldn't help but grin, not expecting it actually succeeded. Until now, I had always relied on my fists to fight. This crystal black rod could finally make up for my weakness in ranged attacks. The ability to crystallize one's own color. I had already figured out the trick when I absorbed your color. In any case, I should thank you. Thank you for letting me see something useful. He hurriedly dodged sideways in a panic, but the black rod smashed onto the giant rock behind him, instantly blasting a deep crater with astonishing power. You bastard. He raised his gun and swept fire at me madly, but I didn't dodge in the slightest, allowing the bullets to hit my body. I already said, it's useless. Since we're already fighting, just be my sparring partner. I leaped into the air, charging straight towards him, perfectly replicating his previous attack, unleashing a crystal blast from the ground. This is simply impossible. He actually completely replicated my move. At this time, I wanted to try and change the shape. With a thought, the black rod in my hand instantly turned into a sharp black blade. Flashing in front of him, I swung the blade slashing upwards, and at that moment, the spoit in his hands was sliced in two. This is impossible. My specially made, refined weapon. It was actually shattered in a single strike. How is this possible? He didn't even use a spoit. No way. This black color still has abilities I don't know about. This is too abnormal. At this moment, I menacingly approached him, but suddenly, I felt a burst of fatigue. Why is the energy consumption of my abilities so high? But being able to exert such strong destructive power makes it worth it. Now what do you want to do? You have no weapon anymore. If you want to fight, come barehanded. Not that it will be of any use anyway. Don't get carried away. Do you really think I got promoted to B rank for nothing? You don't really think I only know how to shoot, do you? I said it long ago. My color can condense rubies and hematite, even without a spoit. Killing you is as easy as turning over my hand. In the next second, overwhelming red cones whistled towards me, dense and unavoidable. I hurriedly raised my arm to block. At this moment, my hands were all wrapped in black color as I defended. Using the newly obtained ruby color, the black color began to manifest once again, forming a large shield on my arm. Red Hair's subsequent attacks were all steadily blocked by this shield. Holding the shield, I walked quickly towards him. He even unleashed a massive wave of ruby crystal as a final defense. However, I easily blasted through with my black shield. Red Hair was completely dumbfounded at my display of power. I wrapped the black color energy around my fist, smashing a punch into his kidney without hesitation. Red Hair let out a shrill scream, curling up in pain. I grabbed him by the collar, throwing him downwards, and heavily slamming him onto the ground. Finally, the Red Hair was completely defeated. Are you done with your temper tantrum? I am already busy enough, and you are still here wasting my energy. How can it be? You, someone who just became a pioneer, obtained this kind of power. Something's wrong. This completely doesn't make sense. Say whatever you want. Is that all? But his next sentence was like a sharp knife, piercing fiercely into my heart. You monster. You creep me the hell out. A guy born with black color. Your power is too abnormal. Anyone can tell. Could it be that you yourself have never realized it? Carrying this kind of black color on your body. How can you still live as if nothing is wrong? That's right. You were never human. You are just a monster wearing human skin. You don't deserve to be a human at all. His words were stabbing to the heart. It affected me deeply. Seeing my expression turn instantly cold, Red Hair finally showed fear in his eyes. He clearly also realized that he had said something he shouldn't have. The black color in my eyes became more and more intense, and Red Hair completely panicked, his body trembling ceaselessly. But in the next second, I suddenly burst out laughing. What nonsense are you talking about? Weren't you quite arrogant when you charged over? Now you want to shout at me? However, I understand your feelings now. I can hear from your words that you are very interested in my abilities. Then I will properly demonstrate it for you to